what do we stand on? I mean, what is the foundation or the basis for our lives? We could say a lot of things. We could say Scripture, Christ, but in many ways, the gospel that it is Christ and what He has done, and our understanding of that should be the foundation of our lives. Paul points this out in Ephesians, and he's talking about the armor that we have to put on in our struggle, not against flesh and blood, but against the spiritual forces. And he says in Ephesians 6, beginning in verse 14, he says, "Stand firm, therefore, having girded your loins with truth, and having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and having shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace." And it goes on to talk about the shield of faith, the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit, and talk about the rest of our armor. But wanted to draw our attention there to verse 15, talking about the preparation of the gospel of peace. That the imagery there being the sandals that would allow a Roman soldier to be able to stand firm where he took a stand in the battle. And that's what the gospel does for us. That so much changes in this life, there's so much uncertainty, things can change just in an instant that can turn our world upside down. But one thing that will not change and will never change is the gospel. And it is what gives a sureness to our steps, a foundation that we can stand firm upon. And Paul just emphasizes this so much throughout the book of Ephesians. Ephesians chapter 4, when he opens there, imploring the church to stand firm in unity, and reminds them that there is one Lord, one faith, one baptism, and talks about other aspects that are one. But the oneness of this gospel, that we are saved through Christ, there's only one way, and that is through faith in Him. That there's only one way to the Father, as Jesus said in John 14. This is something I want to that is talked about in one the new song by CityAlight, the title album off their new album called "There Is One Gospel." There's one gospel on which we stand, and I'll post a link to that here in the description. I encourage you to check it out. It talks about different aspects of how we stand on the gospel and how that affects our life. And there's a lot of great resources out there that talk about this idea of standing firm on the gospel, of making that a priority. But the song does a good job of summing that up. But wanted us to reflect, even if you don't listen to the song, but just think about this verse. What do we stand upon? What gives a sureness to our steps? What enables us to be able to stand firm for the Lord? It's not our own willpower. It's not a certain set of skills. It's not being in a particular church. It's, do we stand firm on the gospel? Again, the song there and the link is by CityAlight. There Is One Gospel. And we should stand firm on it, as it will never change, and it does give the sureness to our steps. May God bless. Scripture quotations are from the NASB, the New American Standard Bible, copyright 1971-1995 by the Lockman Foundation, used by permission, all rights reserved.